Today we're going to be exploring collage. Collage is when you cut out pieces of paper or other materials and glue it on a base paper or another material to create your artwork. Today I'm going to show you how to make a paper collage. But other than paper, you can also use things like cardboard, fabric. You can even glue small objects like beads or small toys to your project to make a collage. So that doesn't have to be paper, but we will be using paper today. When creating a collage, first you need to have a base paper. The base paper is going to be the background of your project. And this is the paper that you're going to glue on top of, so you're not going to cut this paper. This paper stays exactly the way it is. Next, we're going to get some paper to glue on top and cut them out into smaller pieces. There are two different ways to approach this. One is to just cut out a bunch of different random shapes and see what you can make with the types of paper that you get. The second approach is to have a picture in mind already and cut out pieces that you will need to make that picture. I have some construction paper scraps that I'll be using. But also, if you don't have construction paper and you're working from your house, you can use old catalogs, you can use old advertisements, you can use old newspapers. Anything is okay. First, let's review how to use scissors. Make sure that you hold your scissors with bunny ears. It looks like the loops of the scissors are bunnies coming out of your hand, which is the bunny's face. That way, if you trip, you won't poke yourself or somebody else. When you're using your scissors, make sure to cut away from you and move and turn the paper rather than turning the scissors. Also, make sure you're nibbling your scissors a little bit by little bit and not chomping. So first I'm going to just cut out some random pieces and turn them into a shape. So remember to try and cut your pieces as close as possible to the edge of your paper. If you do this, let's say I'm cutting on a circle, then there's so much wasted paper. So we're not going to do this. Instead, we're going to start the shape right at the corner. And now we have a lot more space to make another shape. So not like this, we want it like this one. So now I have two circles. If you have a big piece like this and you want it to turn into a smaller rectangle, you don't have to cut out another rectangle inside like this. Because that way you have some waste on the edges. Instead, you could just cut one out from the corner, like this. Now, again, we still have a lot of space to work on with this one. So not like this, but like this. So whenever cutting out your pieces, try to use the corners first. Some bigger shapes, smaller shapes, really tall and skinny shapes. You can make any kind of shape you want. Also, you can make organic shapes. These are called geometric shapes, which have straight lines or perfect circles, perfect curves, where you might learn about these shapes in math class. Organic shapes are the kind of shapes that are kind of a blob shape. We don't really know what to call this other than it's just a blob. These are organic shapes. And in art, we use both. So if you want to try out organic shapes, you can as well. So now that I have some of these random pieces, I think I have an idea. I think I'm going to arrange these into a cityscape. A cityscape is a picture of a city. So it's like a landscape, but it's specifically in a city. And in cities, you might see some tall buildings. So I have some tall buildings and some short buildings. And I'm not gluing it down yet. I'm just putting it on the paper to see what else I want to add. Because my base paper is black, I think it looks like it's nighttime. So I think I will try crescent moon shape. Again, using the corner of the paper, not the middle. And then I think I want to make some windows. So then I'm gonna chop this piece off. And I'm gonna try and use this part to make my windows. I'm gonna make a very skinny piece like this. And then chop them into smaller rectangles and squares. And these will be my building windows. I'll use this side of the paper to make another row. And I will set these aside because I will be using this later. And I'm ready to start gluing. You can use stick glue or bottle glue. If you have a lot of small pieces, I would recommend using stick glue, and I will show you why in a second. So for bigger pieces, make sure you flip your paper over. Add the glue all the way around the edges. Stick it on and make sure you rub and hold until it's all the way stuck. Stick glue is not very strong, so you've got to make sure that you press down so that it does not fall off. Same with my next building and my moon. So now I'm going to be making my smaller details, which for mine are the windows. So then if you have small pieces, if you keep the glue stick out, and you set the small piece on top of your glue and glide it on, then you can very easily get glue on small pieces, which might be challenging to try and do upside down. Now I can stick my windows on here. And your finger will get sticky, but in art, sometimes we get messy, and that's okay. Just make sure you wash your hands when you're all finished. Okay, so here's my finished collage exploration. First, I started cutting out some random shapes and then decided what parts I could use for my collage and cut out some extra pieces and glued everything onto my base.